Hi, this is the second in a series of 3 videos put together to get you started with the Tacview Recorder mod in Arma. If you haven't watched the first video in this series, you might want to do so, and there's a link in the description. This is just a client-side mod like any other published on Steam. Subscribe to it in the workshop and there's no other bother with regard to installation. The mod supports both single player and multiplayer. Under multiplayer, this is very much a client-side mod. Any number of machines in the session can have the mod running, and each is completely independent. It is not required that all participants have the mod installed. It's only necessary for anybody who wishes to record the game. In theory, there's no reason the mod couldn't be loaded on the server and a session recorded from there, but this isn't something I've spent much time testing as yet. Now that we're in the game, there are a few things to talk about. The mod uses CBA for its settings and key bindings, so it should be very familiar to anybody who's using any one of the many community mods out there. When we go into the settings menu, you'll see that it's pretty simple. At the time of filming, there are only 3 settings to worry about. The first is the location on the local machine at which the videos will be saved. The default when you first install the mod will be the root of the C drive. It's quite possible Arma doesn't actually have permissions to write files to this location, so you'll probably want to change this. When you install Tacview, it creates a folder within the Documents folder of your user profile. I've tended to just use this for the mod as well, so that all my recordings are together. Output debug information. Most of the time you're going to want to leave this as default of off. When it's enabled, it outputs extra information via system chat and to the recording file for the purpose of debugging problems. I'll turn it on for the moment to show you what that means. Allow remote exec. The majority of the information the mod records is drawn from the local machine. However, there are some interesting bits of information that is available for multiplayer only on other machines on the network. An example is the hit and killed events, which for AI are run only where those units are local, which is likely the server or a headless client. In order to collect this information, the mod uses remote execution to marshal that information back to the local machine. This does place a small burden on network communication and other machines. I don't believe it's much of a burden. It certainly hasn't been a problem in my experience running in multiplayer up to this point. However, I don't want to make too many assumptions about other users. This setting acts as a circuit breaker. If disabled, then the mod will only collect what information it can from the local machine and won't make any remote calls. Let's now take a look at the key bindings. At this point, the mod is driven entirely from the keyboard. There are 3 simple bindings: start recording, stop recording, and indicate whether a recording is running or not. Start recording, and you'll see a hint letting you know what's occurred. Stop recording, and you'll get the same. Ask it whether a recording is going on or not, and you'll see a hint like this. It's worth noting that if you are currently recording, you can hit the start recording key as many times as you like and nothing new will happen. It won't stop and then start a new recording. It works like this because I found it common to find myself in a multiplayer mission in an aircraft halfway to the drop zone, or having just arrived in the AO, and not sure whether I had in fact started recording yet. This way I can just hit the record button and not worry about what state the mod was in before I did so. You can see down here in the system chat the debug messages I was referring to earlier when talking about the setting. Let's have a quick look at the output of the recording. Here you see the file we've just created. You can open that directly in Tacview. It's worth noting that if you're recording a game with a large number of units for quite some time, then this file can grow fairly large. A rough indication is that in a game with 100 or so units, this file grows at the rate of about a megabyte a minute. So if you're playing for a few hours, then that's easily several hundred megabytes. The contents of this file is just text, so you can zip it up and get good compression. Tacview will actually read zip files natively, so you don't need to even unpack it to watch. If you do zip it, it seems to be a convention to rename the file to have the ACMI extension, so Tacview will be associated correctly with the file. That's all you need to know about getting started in Arma. The next video will cover how to make use of this recording in Tacview.